Hello, everyone. Good morning from Korea. I guess it's the same time zone as Japan. So, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming here today to eFuture Event for Teachers 2026. Today, we are going to be talking about teaching smart. We are talking about building strong foundations in our students. Today, we're going to cover from primary students, from kindergarten all the way through secondary students. So let's get started. First of all, you must be wondering, who is this? Who is our speaker today? My name is Hannah. My name is Hannah Ruppert. I am from Illinois in the United States. I studied elementary education and I was a certified teacher in the US. But then I came to Korea and I have taught EFL in Korea for 8 years. Mostly my focus is primary students and kindergarten, preschool students. So my focus has been from pre-K to sixth grade. And then now I have currently been at eFuture for a little over a year, and I'm really excited to talk to you about different teaching strategies, different ideas for teaching, some ways we can go about it, and how to use our series as well, how it can become beneficial for you and for your students. So I hope that we can communicate and talk through the chat if you have any questions. We will have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar, but please talk to me, ask questions. My team is there ready to answer any questions that you might have. So let's get started. Next page. So on today's agenda, we are going to be talking about a lot of different things, as you can see here. But the first thing is why a strong English foundation matters for long-term success for our students. And I purposefully made this diagram because our students are going to keep stepping up. And so that's what we want to do. We want to start with a strong foundation and continue to build upon that. So first, why a strong English foundation matters. So I want to ask you if you could type in the chat, what do you think your students struggle with the most? Is it phonics, maybe speaking, confidence? I know here in Korea, a lot of my students, the biggest thing they had to overcome was their confidence. They could do it, they just were shy sometimes. Maybe writing, maybe a little bit of everything here and there. Okay, reading, writing. All right, so let's talk about how we can help our students. Reading and speaking. Yeah, and of course, it depends on the students. It depends on a lot of different things. Everybody's different, but as teachers, we strive to help our students. You know, we have a big classroom and a lot of students with different needs. And so it's important to have a plan and a lesson and activities that cater to all of the students, all of their needs, all of their learning styles, everything that they might need. So let's get started. All right, so here's what I mean by strong foundations. We want confident, independent communicators. Yes, it's our job to lead students, but we want them to feel confident. We want them to feel in control of their own learning. And it's our job to lead them there. My slides like to go faster than I do, I think. So strong foundations in learning English, it's not just about memorizing the words. We want students to be able to use them. We want them to hear them, say them, read them, write them, use them with confidence on their own. So that is what we are building from a very young age, and we want to keep building and helping them to grow in that way. So, what are some things that we need when we are building these strong foundations? We first need phonics, right? It's very important. And along with phonics comes phonemic awareness. And we are going to break these down and talk about these a little bit more. Of course, vocabulary is very important. We want them to know many words, variety of words. And listening comprehension. We want them to be able to hear something. Oh, I know what that is. Reading skills, habits and routines. We're not just teaching English, we're teaching them how to cooperate in a classroom. Speaking confidence, of course, writing skills, sentence structure, we're getting more and more advanced, as you can see, and grammar patterns. So let's break all of these down. So first, when I talk about phonemic awareness and phonics, we want students to understand not just the letters, but the sounds, the sound-letter relationships. We want them to be able to create words, even if it's silly words or nonsense words. We want them to be able to practice and know the relationship between the letters. Listening comprehension and vocabulary. We want them to be able to understand spoken English, not just see the words on the paper and know what it is. We want them to be able to use it, speak it, hear it. And then next we go into reading skills. So I'm not saying that you have to start with one thing, but of course, phonics you do need first. But I'm building up the skills that we need. We're starting with phonics and we're building up to the things that students need. And it's important to have series and books that incorporate all of this naturally together. So you don't have to try and think, okay, I need this in my lesson and this and this and this. It's important to have a book, a curriculum, a plan that incorporates all of it naturally. So now we get into reading. Our students know phonics. They have an understanding of phonemic awareness. They are able to listen. They know a good range of vocabulary. And now it's their turn to see a book and they can decode. Maybe if it's a really long word, they can break it apart and try to read it. Their fluency, we want them to have basic comprehension of what they're reading. After they read, we want them to be able to answer questions. Speaking confidence, and not just repeating language examples from the book. We want them to be able to talk to each other, to use it in the classroom. Even if it's simple speech, even if it's really young learners, we want them to be able to have some phrases and things that they can say to each other to communicate how they feel, what they need, things like that. Now we go into habits and routines, especially the young students. My favorite age range, the kindergarteners. They need instructions, they need routines, they need something to follow. And so letting students know what's expected of them, having them participate and practice consistently. They're practicing classroom behavior, classroom dialogue, they're practicing reading. So it's taking all of it together and students are doing it again and again every single day. In writing, we want them to be able to form words, write letters. That's the first one, right? We want them to write letters and form words, and then we build up to sentences and knowing how sentence structures and grammars, knowing how they work together and being able to create it on their own. Now, taking all of my building blocks, I created a castle. We're talking about strong foundations. So, we want students, even at a young age, even if it's um, maybe it's not writing sentences, maybe it's practicing forming letters, but we want them to be incorporating all of these ideas to have a strong foundation, to be confident in what they are doing, and to build upon each other. Of course, the levels increase. And we want to keep building upon their knowledge and their skill set. So I have another example because I love pictures, I love examples. So this is my other example. So vocabulary words are great. And I used to work at a school and we used to drill the vocabulary words, sight words. The students had tests, and that's great. But in this example, I want to show the importance of incorporating everything all together in these strong foundations. If we just give students vocabulary words, as you can see in my toolkit, it's a hammer, 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 hammer. They're learning all these words. That's great. Do they know how to use it? I hope so. But in order to use it, maybe they need some other tools. They need some other things in their toolkit to be able to do things on their own. The teacher is not always going to be there to help them. So this is the toolkit of our students. It's not just about how many words they know. It's about how well they can use it. Can they use these words through listening and speaking and reading and writing? So they need other tools such as phonics. They need confidence. They need grammar. All of those building blocks that I showed you before, the students need to be able to have those tools in their toolkit. So we're going to talk about that more and more throughout today's webinar. How are we doing? Is everyone doing okay? Do you like all my my picture examples, my visual examples? Okay, so now we're going to go to the next block. We're going to talk about how the SMART series, the eFuture SMART series, all of these books right here that you can see, how it scaffolds learning. So how we go from phonics all the way to full communication. Okay, so this is the difference. So yes, we want our students to learn English, but we also want them to use it. We want their learning to become their own. We want them to be able to use it in the outside world. That's the ultimate goal in EFL learning, English as a foreign language, right? So we start with phonics. And phonics, she can read. She can read I like apples. And we know that A makes the A sound, right? And T makes the T sound, phonics. And then we put it together. I think I have it backwards. At, at. Okay, we can read. We know for phonemic awareness, we know what sound it makes when the letters come together. Wow, good job, student. But then we take it to the next level with comprehension. Now the girl understands, I like apple sliced. Maybe I like green apples. I like red apples. So she understands what she's reading. Not just I like apples. She understands what that means. But then when we take it to communication, she uses it. I like apples, but I don't like the green apples because they're sour. Or I like apples, but I don't like bananas because they're mushy. We want her to be able to take it to the next level and use it, communicate with it. So they are not three separate skills. It's a continuous learning chain. Phonics teaches students the letter sound connections and words, how to create words, read words. Comprehension helps students understand what they're reading and what they're hearing. Communication, they're able to express it. They're not just repeating from the book. They're not just repeating what they hear from someone else. They're able to use their feelings and their emotions through their own words. Okay, so in talking about this, phonics to comprehension to communication, I've divided the series in this way. And of course, we want all of our students, no matter if they're learning phonics, or if they're just learning the course book or the listening book, we want them to have this chain, this continuous learning chain through all of them. But I've broken it down to show examples from these series. So for phonics, I'm going to show examples from our Smart ABC book and our Smart Phonics book. With comprehension, we're going to focus on our Smart English course book, and then our Smart Reading book as well. And then when we get into communication, I'm going to talk about our Smart Listening series and our brand new secondary series, English Wave. All right, so first, when we get into phonics, so we want phonics, or we want students to be able to use phonics to read and write, and they're not memorizing, they're not guessing, they actually can understand the words and how to read them, how to create them. We want them to develop strategies for sounding out unfamiliar words that they might not know what it is, but they have phonics, so they can. We want them to become confident, independent. We want them to be able to read on their own. The teacher is not always going to be there. And also pronounce words accurately. So when we get to phonics, and I covered this a little bit already, so phonics means connecting the sounds to the print. So we know that this letter, M, makes the sound. That's phonics. And we can do that using the Smart ABC book, using songs, using chants. We have a song like our ABC song. So especially with our young students, this is on our YouTube. Especially with our young students, we want them to be able to identify and understand the letters and the sounds that they make, but we also want them to have fun. We want them to sing and have chants, play games, things like that. And the Smart ABC book is a great way to start out with phonics. But then taking it to the next level, we have, let's go back. So as you can see, the Smart ABC book, the students are tracing, they're practicing, tracing with their finger, they are putting on stickers. These are for our really young learners that need that practice. They need practice cutting and putting stickers. And then we get into our Smart Phonics. And Smart Phonics is where we start diving deeper into phonemic awareness. At first, of course, we're covering the letters and the sounds that they make, but then later on, we dive into putting the letters together, creating words. All right, and we have fun little pictures and videos, as you can see there. Fine motor skills, that's what I was trying to think of. We have these young students using their fine motor skills. So they are not just reading, they're not just looking, because everybody has a different learning type. And especially for our young students, we need them active, we need them doing things, we need them cutting. Okay, so I have this to try and scare you. This looks like a really big word. It looks really intimidating. What does it say? Our students are scared. What is that? But with phonics, we know how to break it down. We know how to break it apart. And so now the students are able to read abracadabra. Do you know what that is? Abracadabra, like magic. Woo! Abracadabra. So it's important that students know phonics. They don't just see a word and, I'm so scared. What is that? I'm just going to skip it. No, we want them to be able to say, okay, I know how to use phonics. I know how to break it apart. And they can do that through reading. They can do that on their own, and that's really important that we give our students a strong phonics foundation so that they can read any word, even if it's not a real word. So when we talk about phonemic awareness, we the focus is sounds. So it's not just the letter, it's the sounds that they make and breaking down words into sounds. At eFuture, we have a special kind of blending. Instead of sounding out a word like, what does this say? I know I can't hear you, but I want to pretend that you're making the sound. This says, ah, T. We're sounding out three different letters. It takes more time. The students are trying to remember, okay, makes a sound, or M makes a sound, A makes a sound. But if we first focus on the end, as you can see right here, we have at. So we want our students, and we can do little games. We can have a student with the A sound, with the A, with the A, and we have a student with the T, the T, and every time they move closer, they go at, at. And we do this many times, and we repeat, and we make sure they're comfortable with it. And once they know this sound, at, they can put any letter in front of it, even if it's not a real word. So we can put a B, bat, put a C, cat, put a H, hat, put a M, mat. Oh, what's this? It's Pat. Wow. Okay, what about this? Jat. What's a jat? That's not a word. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is? And so playing with the students, interacting, making them laugh, giggle, even if we are creating nonsense words, we are teaching them how to create words, how to decode unknown words. And we have found that this way of blending is simple and fast to teach and for students to learn. So we really encourage, and we use these in our series to identify the final sound first, and then add different beginnings. And we can do lots of blending games and activities to practice these tactics. All right. Also, with phonics, of course, they need to know how to form the letters, how to write. So using tracing videos, we want to have students practicing their coordination, their handwriting. And of course, when we do a lot of these activities, teachers are able to observe and teach handwriting without confusion. So this is a video. I think it's later on in the presentation, but this video shows how to trace the letter E. And so what I like to do is, as the video is showing how to trace, the line is going down the E, I like to have students do it in different ways. We are not just using our pencil. We are using literally anything we can find around us, using our imagination. So, of course, we can trace air writing, and then we also can do body writing. So using our head to trace the letter E, or using our nose, our chin, our elbow, our foot. But we want students to understand, okay, this is how I write an A. And they can use the book as well, as you can see in the top right corner. It shows the students how to write it. We go down first. And so having students do activities like this, whether it's tracing on the table, on a palm of the hand, on their friend's back, maybe using a toy we can try and make an A. So we want to think of many different ways to keep it fun, to keep it interactive, but having students tracing without tracing. So that is another idea of ways that we can keep phonics fun, so that students have a strong foundation and they know, okay, this is how I write an A. This is how I write a B. Now we're going to get into comprehension. Comprehension helps students. They can follow instructions more easily. They can understand stories better. We want them to connect the language to what they already know, what they already see in their environment. And also learning through CLIL. CLIL is content language integrated learning, which is a very big fancy way of saying, does anyone know what it is? Can you let me know in the chat? I kind of just want to give the answer away, but that means school subjects. So we use school subjects incorporated with English. So we're not just learning English, we are learning it through things that students learn at school as well, things that they need to continue to grow, to continue to create strong foundation. So it's incorporating school subjects, everything they might know about the world, and it brings it all together. If phonics is weak, then it becomes harder for students to have comprehension because they're focusing on, okay, abracadabra. They don't understand, oh, that means magic. That's what Harry Potter says. So we want them, they have to have a strong foundation in phonics to be able to understand. So my first example for comprehension, I'm going to use Smart English. That's the workbook. Here I have the student book. But all of these examples are from the student book. So these examples here, we have regular lessons. So the students are learning words, they're learning vocabulary. It's things that they would see, things that they would use in their daily life, maybe at the zoo, in the classroom. And they're practicing dialogue. Like, where are you, Jake? I'm at the zoo. Where are you, Betty? I'm at home. So they're practicing language that they would use. And we also have jump up lessons where students are reviewing and they're using everything that they learned in past lessons. There's dialogues and sentences that they can use to plug in. As you can see in the top right picture, it says Funny Farm. And so the students are identifying, oh, okay, he says this, so he should say this. So it's using what they learned in past lessons and they're using it again and again and again. Spiral learning, we want them to use it again and again. We are always recycling the language and the vocabulary. So as I already said, they're introducing new language, but then we're also recycling. We're using what they know and we're doing it in fun ways. There's pictures. We want them to be able to, they're playing games. We want them to be able to do these activities in fun ways in the form of games, which I will get into later. In the form of activities, we want to expand, we want to make it fun. We just want them saying the phrases. We want them using the conversation and the dialogue again and again and again in different ways. And like I said, yes, we're continual use of past language. We want them to use the language many times. So maybe they do this activity in their book, and then they do it with a friend. And then maybe one friend has the book, one friend doesn't have the book. We want to create gap activities and things where students have to try and remember, oh, okay, this is what he said. We want them, but not just remember, not just memorize. We want them to be able to comprehend, to understand. Okay, this is what I say when he says this. Um, and we also the show your progress lessons. So we already have incorporated, there's listening portions, reading and writing portions, speaking portions, and stories. It shows the teacher, it shows the improvement of the student through different learning styles. Next, we are going on to smart reading. And with smart reading, it is a reading series, but I really like the series because you can use it in many different ways. You can use it through speaking and writing, and you can expand it. First, when we're teaching a reading series, it's important to build up their background knowledge. We want to talk about the pictures. We want to ask questions about the pictures. In this picture here, she has a bicycle. Do you have a bicycle? We're learning about shadows. Let's try and find shadows in the classroom. Or maybe we could do an activity where we create a shadow and then we trace it. We want them to be able to understand what they're going to read before they're reading. And then during reading, we want them to understand the story, even if it means reading it again. And it's important that we do read it several times. We want them to read it and understand it on their own, but also with friends, in groups, in partners. We want to be able to use the sentences. Not just through reading, but actually talking about it and repeating the sentences. We want them to understand the structures and the context of it as well. And then after reading, we can personalize it. We want students to talk about it, to act it out. We want to expand into other skills like speaking and writing. There's a word book and worksheets and a lot of additional materials with smart reading as well. Yes, so here are some of my ideas that I like to do before reading. So before we read, have students look at their surroundings in their classroom. What do they see that's in their classroom that's also in the book? We want to ask about their background knowledge. There's a bench. Do you have a bench near your house? Or there's a tree. Did you see a tree today? So we want to use our vocabulary words using their background knowledge. We want to let them be able to share a story or get excited about it, and expand upon it. Did you see a tall tree? Was it a small tree? Use other words to get students interested, excited, and talking about their background knowledge. Have students act it out. Let's act like a tree. Let's act like a bicycle or a bench or a shadow. So we want them acting it out. Like I said before, we can create shadows. Have them drawing pictures of what they think a tree looks like. In this picture, this looks like a funny tree. We don't really have trees like that in Korea. What do our trees look like? Have them draw pictures and using flashcards. So we have a lot of flashcards with smart phonics, smart English, smart reading. So using those flashcards to play games, to do activities. And then during reading, we want them to, we can do it many ways. Like I said, we're not just reading one time. Let's use our magic finger as we read along. We can have students, they're reading together, but every time they see a yellow word, every time they see a vocabulary word, we're going to clap. So the sun is up. Let's make shadow art. There is a shadow. Oh, it's not yellow anymore, but we know that word. We trace the tree. There is a shadow. So using clapping, maybe body actions. When they hear shadow, they have to make a shadow. When they hear tree, they have to make a tree. We could do dancing. So we could do a lot of different activities, have them read together, have them mingle, changing partners, or maybe whenever they're reading with their partner, and then maybe if the teacher like dings a bell or blows a whistle, then the students have to stop where they are. Just making it exciting and different in many different ways, trying to keep it fun, but we also want them reading it again and again and again, because repetition helps with comprehension. Maybe they can change the sentences. Maybe instead of saying the sun is up, maybe we can change sun, doing fill in the blanks, or like Mad Lib style, taking words out and putting words in. That way we really know if they can comprehend, if they can understand what they are reading. And then, of course, the three P's, PPP, presentation, practice, production. So I do, we do, you do. The teacher shows what is expected of the students. They do it together, and then the students do it. Maybe they do it in partners. Maybe they do it alone. But those are ways to facilitate during reading time. Now we go to after reading. And it's important to do more games. We have a lot of resources. Like I said before, we have word books and worksheets with the Smart Reading series. So for this here, it says read and circle. And the students, they're reading, they're circling the correct picture. But we can also take it a step further and we can play games with it. So they toss the ball and they say the sentence. So they toss the ball, let's make shadow art. Pass it to the other friend, let's make shadow art. We want them saying the sentence. And this is from book 1. So as it increases into books 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, of course the level increases as well. And the sentences and the words, the vocabulary words, everything, the level increases with it. But I wanted to give a basic example of how I would use this. Maybe using a bell game. Maybe they have to hop on cards with the flashcards on the ground, and then they say, we trace the tree, we trace the bench, we trace the bike, and when they get to the end, they hit the bell. So it's important to do games and activities, even with a reading series. We don't want reading classes to simply be stationary and boring and just reading. We want to keep them excited so that all of our students, with all of their differences and different learning styles, they're all having fun and they're all using their learning style to learn, and they're enjoying it. Okay. So now we get into communication. So communication, it helps students to listen, focus, and speak using full sentences. We want them to respond appropriately in conversations. We want them to be able to go back and forth, to share to share their opinions, their ideas, information that they learned. So we started with phonics, and we needed that for comprehension. But then if we have a strong comprehension, then communication is easier. It becomes more natural. It becomes, students become more confident because they understand. So they can use it. They can use what they know. And for these examples, I'm going to cover smart listening and English wave. So we want them, with communication, it's important to personalize. We want them to have something to talk about. We want to extend their learning and connect the students to the content. Using scaffolded listening activities, and review it. Do it again and again and again. We want to reinforce what they learned. So here in this example, of smart listening, we are talking about my school things, things that you see in a classroom, and they're listening. But we can take it further, and we can talk about their bag and their book and their crayon. What color is it? Is it heavy? Is it light? Um, what do you learn with that book? So we want to take it further and have them talk about everything they're hearing. Where it's not just listening activities. I feel like listening and speaking go hand in hand. They need to be able to repeat everything that they're hearing. And of course, using games and activities too. So we want them to use critical thinking when they're listening, maybe learning how to take notes, using graphic organizers, which is included in this. And this is a more advanced level on the right, as you can see. So they're using more graphs, more visualization. And we want them to learn key expressions, and of course, understand how to use them. All right, and expand upon the vocabulary. So they're listening and repeating the phrases, wake up, have breakfast, go to school. And we can do games with that as well. We want to have students thinking of more ideas, more things that they might do at home or at school. And also with communication, we want to use a lot of pictures, talk about what's in the picture, talk about the vocabulary words, use the dialogues provided, and have students use critical thinking to make connections. So questions are really important in doing this. Yes, they have, here in this example, the vocabulary is a sentence or a dialogue between two people. Are you, so A, it says, are you going to get a job this summer? And B, yes, I am. I'm going to work at summer camp. So having students read this and practice this, but then also maybe we take out summer camp and we put in tutor, or we put in fast food worker, or we put in car cleaner. We want them to practice using this, but using different vocabulary. There's questions that help students use more critical thinking. Where is the girl working? What kind of jobs do teens get in the summer? Have you had a job? Do you want a job? Out of this list here, how many, which job would you want to do? How many do you not want to do? Which ones do you not want to do? So asking lots of questions is the best way to get secondary older students talking and starting a dialogue. And we have this example here. This vocabulary dialogue is here to create a foundation for students to talk about it. But then, of course, encouraging them to go beyond, to talk more, not just what's given in the book. So here, I pulled apart the speaking exercises to show a little bit more about what it looks like. So at the end of every lesson, we end with a summative and a guided communication exercise. So we really want students to use their comprehension, their critical thinking, and we want them to use it creatively. So here they're making their own sentences, and it tells you exactly how you can facilitate it. So students are working in groups of 3 and they're taking turns making sentences. And they're doing it in random order. So they are following from the books. So they would say, I gave my sister a sandwich, or I bought my family some money. Wait. Of course, we can change it and we can say, you sent our teacher a gift. So they're able to create sentences, but mix and match. Here, and it shows the verbs, the indirect objects, the direct objects. And then below, we can see they're talking with a partner. They're making a list of class rules, things that they can do in the classroom, they can't do in the classroom, and then maybe we can try and change it. They're talking about rules, so maybe what are some rules in a museum? What are some rules at home? We can always try, and especially for our older students, as long as they have that comprehension, we can continue to change it, to do it in different ways. We can always try and expand. All right, moving on to pillar 3. So let's talk about how to integrate speaking, listening, reading, and writing all into one lesson. And it's easier than you think. It's not that hard. So here I'm showing you the video, I believe. Yes. So the tracing video. So like I said before, instead of... There we go. Instead of just tracing, we want them to use their listening, their speaking, their reading, and their writing. So we want them to be able to trace, but then we also want them to be able to use their body. They're saying the sound. They're going, ah, ah. They're listening, they're speaking, they're reading it, and they're writing it. So it seems like it's hard to incorporate all of this. And we talked about things that our students need to work on, and most of us said reading, writing, and the best way to do that is by trying to incorporate all of them into everything that we do. Of course, students learn at different paces, but as long as we are continuously incorporating all of these things into all of the lessons, that's what's important. Practice, practice, practice. And then here we are getting into, oh, okay. So here we are doing air writing or body writing, like I already showed you, acting it out, tracing the letters in different textures, maybe sand. Different surfaces on the wall, they're tracing the letter A, on the table, using whiteboards. But in learning writing, we can also sing songs. We can watch videos. We're still practicing phonemic awareness.
Damn. Ham. Jam.
So we're having students listen, we're having them speak, we're having them read it, we're having them write it. So it's a lot easier than one would think to incorporate all of these things. Okay. Yes. So when we get into the course books, it's all included already. So this example here from Smart English, show your progress. There's already a listening section and a reading and writing section and a speaking section, but you do not just have to use that. The speaking section is not just for speaking. We can have the students practicing writing what they see and reading what they see. Maybe they write it and they pass it to a partner and their partner has to read it. So doing gap activities, we want to try and incorporate all of these learning skills in everything that we do. Even if it says reading and writing at the top, we can have students speaking it. We can have them saying it. Because I know personally, I learned through speaking and writing. Maybe not so much reading, but the more I do it and I incorporate all of it together, it helps me through my learning style. And then here in the Smart Reading series, this is from book 6, and they are answering questions first before reading. And again, have students don't have them just answer the questions. We want them to practice writing the answers, have them practice reading it to each other, speaking it to each other, maybe changing it. So we want to always expand. That's my tip. We always want to expand. Yes, and so comprehension checks are important, and the Smart Reading Series has this because students are making connections. So here, they are taking the sentences and they're putting them in the best order that they remember. So if they need to go back, they need to read, they need to check, and then they come and they write. So incorporating all of these skills, having them talk to their friends, having them use it together before writing it down. So it's important that no matter what the section is, that we try to use all of these skills. Expand, 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 and creating information gaps in any way. Maybe one student has the word and one student has the sentence. And they have to stand up and they have to find each other. They have to read their word and read their sentence. Oh, wow, my word makes sense in your sentence. We're partners. And that's the example that I blew up down here in the left corner. So any sort of information gaps, whether it's stand up and mingle and find your match, or whether it's pass the paper down and each student writes the next thing, just creating lots of information gaps. So the listening series, like I said before, is not just about listening. We want them speaking, we want them reading, we want them writing, we want them doing everything together. Okay, so yeah, like I said, it's all already incorporated into the series. We just want to make sure students are putting in as much output as they are input. We want them speaking as much as possible, especially for the sake of communication. And this is the English Wave series here. This is an example. So there are a lot of different activities within this series. So we give useful expressions, and then there's speaking activities, reading sections, writing sections, but it's not just reading. It's not just writing. We want to use all of it together. We have worksheets that students can use. We have school connections, which is our CLIL, our content language integrated learning. And then they're doing projects. So they're taking what they learn and they do it in project form. All right, so going on to our next pillar. How can we apply games and activities to increase motivation? We want students to want to learn. So our games and activities. We can even do games with the young students. It's not just for older students. We want them to have a variety of exposure and fun. There's board games, and they're reviewing the letters. They're using their fine motor skills to color, to practice saying the letters and their sounds. With phonics, I love to do flashcard games. And on our YouTube, we have flashcard games. This game here.
This game is a fun game you can do when you're introducing the new target. Okay, so students will have to guess what's behind the question mark. Okay? Now
okay,
let's try.
So with this game, she hides the card and she shows it little by little, and the students have to guess. What is that picture? What is that word? We have another game here called What's Missing. And with What's Missing, she puts the cards out, as you can see. And then our lovely Sue, she mixes them and takes one away. And then he has to try and guess, what was that card? What was that picture? Do I remember what that word is? So using flashcards is a great, great way to help with phonics, to help with vocabulary. And then this here, so we can do it with, this is from the phonics book, but you can do it with reading series, you can do it with course book series. So these are my little students. and they are hopping on the word and they're saying the word. And then they want to win a point for their team. So they want to go to the bell first. But maybe they say the word or maybe they say the sentence. Maybe, so we're practicing the ram has something. So even if it's silly, we want them to understand and start building comprehension that it's silly. So maybe the ram has a lap. The ram has a map. Okay, the ram has jam. The ram has a dam. We want them to practice using the words in sentences as they're moving their body and playing games. Or maybe you could read the sentence, and every time maybe they're dancing, and then when it's the correct sentence, they have to freeze. So the ram has jam. The ram has a ham. So getting them to move their body and stop is really fun. We want, especially young students, to get up and move. Using fun board games and different activities, we want them reviewing multiple targets at the same time. So maybe for activities, maybe they are coloring. I'm just seeing the chat now. The name of our YouTube channel, eFuture. And I will show it at the end as well. And maybe we can put the link in the chat as well. But yeah, check out our YouTube. We have lots of game activities and ideas on our YouTube. So for activities, we can have them coloring, we can have them doing anything with fine motor skills. But then also taking a story, and we want them to, maybe they can make their own little puppets. And they can act it out, and they can practice saying the story. They can practice using the words that they've learned. So that's some other fun ways that we can incorporate fun, but also using all of our skills. This is another game on our YouTube. Here on the head, she puts the flashcard. Or of course, we always have to go over the words first. But then I think she does it first, yeah. So she puts the card on her head, and then she has to guess what the color is. Now, we're not just doing the vocabulary, we want to practice the dialogue. We want to practice what they're learning. So here they're learning about a bag. So maybe they can say, the bag is blue. No, even if it's just the color card, right? So we want to try and incorporate the lesson using flashcards, creating sentences. Thank you, Yeri. Yeri sent our YouTube channel. And then we also have Behind the Wall. So it's a similar idea to slowly revealing, except the students can't see at all. It's not being revealed at all. They have to try and guess what the word is behind the wall. And we want them using full sentences. We want them trying to use the dialogue. So what is it? So she says, what is it? And maybe he has to guess, it's a crayon. No, it's a pen. No. So we can use flashcard games with phonics, with the course book series, with our reading series. So this example was from our course book, Smart English. But then we also have flashcards with smart reading. This is from our smart reading series. And the cards increase as the levels increase. For smart reading, this is a game I always love to do and I always include. It's called the Sleeping Penguin. And the students, they put their heads down on the table like this, and they're sleeping, and they love it because they like to pretend that they're sleeping, even older students. And so they put their head down. But first, everyone has a number. So we have student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4. So what I would do, I can do this with pictures. I can do this with find the difference activities. But you can even just do it with reading sentences. So student one, so everyone goes to sleep and I say, student one, wake up. And then maybe I point on the board, I point to the word, or maybe I write the word on the board. So student one, their word is sun. Student two, their word is the. Student three, up. Student four is. And so basically what the students have to do, so they're asleep. When I say student one, they wake up. When I say student two, they wake up and go back to sleep. So each student knows their word and only their word. Then they go to sleep and I say, everyone wake up. And they wake up and they have to be the first team to figure out what the sentence is. So they have to talk to each other. Okay, it's a big T. We know that has to go first. So we are using critical thinking. We want them to be able to create the sentence in a game form. So they figure out, oh, the sun is up. And the first team to do it gets a point. And of course, for older students, you can do more words. Maybe student one has 2 or 3 words. Student two has 2 or 3 words. So yeah, we want them discussing and creating sentences together. All right, so here is another game idea. And this is from our new series, English Wave. In this series, we give a lot of vocabulary examples, a lot of pictures. So students, we can play a game in this way. So, for example, on the page on the left, they're talking about weekend plans. What do they do on the weekend? So we can play a game called Survivor. Everybody stands up and everybody has to say a sentence. So we're weekend plans. So we can say, we can follow the example from the book. I'm going to go to the mall on Saturday. So maybe the first student says, I'm going to meet up with friends. I'm going to go hiking. This is student two. So student one, I'm going to meet with friends. Student two, I'm going hiking. Student three, I'm going to see a movie. Student four, I'm going to play soccer. They can use the examples from the book, or they can expand and say anything that they would do on the weekend. We're using personal connection. We're using critical thinking. We want them to apply what they do on the weekend in this game. So each student says a sentence and we go around and around and around, but they cannot repeat it. If they say the same thing as someone else, they have to sit down. Or if they take too long to think, if they take 3, 4, 5 seconds to think, then, oh, sit down. So we want them practicing their quick recall. We want them to say, okay, this weekend, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to clean my house. And we're thinking of what are all the things you could do on the weekend. So that's a game idea for older students as well. And in this series, we have projects to give students more activities, more things to do. All right, so now we're going to dive into AI-powered practices and supporting 21st century skills. So we live in a day and age where there's lots of AI. So I want to ask you right now, what excites you about AI in the classroom? As a teacher, what are the benefits? But then, as a teacher, what are some concerns? What are some things that scare you about having AI in the classroom? So, some exciting things. Feel free to talk with me in the chat. But for me, it makes it easier for us in many ways. Teachers have so many things to do, and having AI is a great tool to help us. But also some concerns, right? It's very accessible, which is great, but then are students using it too much? Is it becoming a hindrance sometimes? So it's important that we learn how to use it in the best way for our students so that they're still learning, that they're not cutting corners, but we're using it to enhance their learning and not hinder it. So ebooks are a great tool, a great resource for teachers to make it easier for us. Time saving, effort saving, and each of the Smart series, we have an ebook. So here, on our eSmart class, you can use the books as examples in your classroom. So here we are swiping through and we can listen to the sounds. I'm going to skip through a little bit, maybe. We can watch the videos, we can listen, we can see examples. And my internet seems to be a little bit slow. But I wanted to show you there's flashcards, but also games. There's a matching game where they have to match the picture to the letter, but you'll have to check it out for yourself because my connection is a little bit slow today. That's all right. And then apps. So using ebooks is really helpful, but then apps, it's great for review for students at home. So we have AI Andy with our Smart Phonics and our Smart English. And Andy, he's assessing students' fluency, their pronunciation, their accuracy, and it helps to track progress. So when students are at home, they can get the app out, they can practice their tracing, they can see the flashcards, they can practice through watching stories. And here's a video of AI Andy. I don't know if it's gonna play. Let's try.
Hi, I'm AI Andy. Let's practice phonics. Let's listen and repeat. Am, damn.
And then we say, am, damn.
Damn.
Now you try.
So we're practicing reading and decoding and phonemic awareness, and they're doing this at home and they're saying it at home and mom and dad are listening. Wow. So yeah, it's great so that students are continuously practicing because our EFL students aren't exposed to it, right? They don't live in the US or Canada or the UK. They need to hear it regularly, and this is a great way to bring it into their home as well. Okay, so the biggest AI feature that I wanted to talk about is with our new series English Wave for secondary students. So we have two different focuses. So first, the speaking portion, students are listening and then they're role playing. They're practicing the sentences and the dialogues. And it's assessing their pronunciation, their fluency. And then we have, as you can see here in this example, they have a score. They have speaking and they have reading. So for Unit 7, as you can see here, they have 3 speaking parts and 3 reading parts. So with the reading, they first have the reading practice, the guided reading practice. And AI gives feedback on pronunciation, pacing, accuracy, but then also shadowing. So students are following along, they're practicing along with the audio, and then they have their passage assessment. And that's when the AI gives the self-assessment and the score. And moving on, we have our last part. So why did we make a secondary course book? and why is it essential? Why is it needed? So I want to ask you guys, are you a secondary teacher? And is it intimidating to teach? I mean, I know that for me personally, my focus has been on kindergarten through sixth grade. So when someone tells me, okay, now you're teaching high school, which I have a couple of times when I've substitute, it's very intimidating for me. So how can we change that? How can we make it less scary? Because as EFL teachers, right? Of course, we have focuses, of course, we have classes, but you never know what area you're going to be put in. And so when we hear somebody talk about, okay, you're going to teach secondary, it can be intimidating. It's a higher level, it's older students, right? So I want to talk about how we can make that easier for us. And we're going to incorporate 21st century learning skills and CLIL and using communication. That's a big part of being a secondary teacher, is communication. So we at eFuture, we have created our curriculum to go from kindergarten, and now we are going into secondary, high school, as some would say. We are going from basic English up to advanced English. So here are our course book series. The blue is our Smart English that we've talked about today. We have Let's Smile, Hand in Hand. We have a new edition, but English Wave is in the red. And as you can see, it goes up to B2. We are dealing with more advanced English, more advanced activities, but it is laid out in a way that is easy. It's not intimidating or scary or difficult. So the strengths of the series, we have CLIL-based learning. We still have the school subjects, the school connections. They're still expanding their English into more advanced English, but they are still using school subjects. They're learning about music and art and science and history, social studies, combining it all. And the project goes along with it. So in the bottom right corner of that page, it says Project 3. So the students' project is based on what they are learning with the school subjects. We have the AI fluency practice, which we already talked about. There's test prep, and there's a grammar appendix that we will look at next. Oh yeah, here's our project page. And then here is the test prep. So it's preparing students for the test. That is very essential as they get older. And then the grammar appendix. So for lesson 7, we have lesson 7A and lesson 7B. So we're breaking it apart and we're practicing it in different ways. So they're completing the dialogue, and then on the next page, they're using graphic organizers. So they're taking the grammar and they're using it, what they learned before, and they're practicing it again and again. And the grammar appendix is at the back of the book. So as they get older, they need to prepare for tests. That's something that we can't avoid. We have 2 test preps, and it gives many different practices, so many different ways of doing it. Reading portion, writing portion, speaking portion, listening portion. We want students to become comfortable in taking tests. And so the grammar appendix, grammar is probably one of the scariest things about being a secondary teacher, but it doesn't have to be. As you can see here, they're learning about direct and indirect objects, and they're completing the sentences. And so it's very, very, very easy to follow, easy to learn. It serves as a great review for the students for what they learned in the lesson previously. So what does 21st century skills look like in the EFL classroom, in the secondary EFL classroom? We want them using critical thinking. We want them talking together and collaborating. We want them being creative. We want them communicating with each other. We want them learning about different cultures, and we want them to also improve their own character, make their own choices for themselves. So, all of that being said, we have made it to the last portion of the day with our guest. Our guest, Mari, is going to help us with questions and answers. She is an expert teacher. So if you have any questions in English, but also if you don't know how to tell them, Mari, she also hosted a webinar last week in Japanese, and that will be on our YouTube as well. So make sure to check that out and contact her. She knows everything. So if anybody, hi Mari.
I
So if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, anything, this is your chance. So please type in the chat box. Please let us know. Mari, is there anything you want to say to get started?
well, I've heard that eSmart class for English Wave will be ready in the end of March,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. Okay.
It's brand new and it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all very, very excited
Yes.
about its arrival.
Okay.
So if
And
you
then
have, oh yeah.
I have a question. Okay, in the English Wave, as I saw your presentation slide, that there is a shadowing section for
Yes.
English Wave. How will it be operated? I mean, like just repeating or
Yeah, it's very similar to our series Discovery. So
mm-hmm,
this AI feature is something new that we have started
mm-hmm.
with our series. Oh, I guess I would have to go back quite a bit. But so basically the students, so the first time
Mm-hmm.
they do it 3 times, right?
Okay.
And so the last time is the final output. But as they're
Mm-hmm.
shadowing, they can listen to the audio and they can read along with it. So it's exactly what it sounds like. So they're
Okay.
following along, they're listening to the pronunciation, the
Okay.
intonation. So the first time they are reading, they are simply
Mm-hmm.
reading. And the second time they are following along in reading as they're shadowing, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
All right. All right. Yeah, I did.
But it's similar to all of our series that we have been creating recently. So our Discovery
Okay.
series, our Hand in Hand second edition that's coming
Mm,
out. So we have a lot of series that is incorporating this, and we keep expanding and
mm.
learning. And so with English Wave, we've incorporated a speaking portion.
Okay.
So with Discovery, it's reading specifically. And then with English Wave, we incorporate an additional speaking portion as well, where they're
Okay.
practicing dialogue.
Okay. After the student recode the final version, will it be evaluated or will the student receive advice from the AI?
It shows the words that you might need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So in red, it will show, okay, maybe work on this word.
Mm.
Yellow means, cautionary, maybe practice a little bit more. So
Okay.
the words are color coded, and
Okay.
the students can practice focusing on maybe saying that word again. Maybe they made a mistake and said the wrong word. So AI does show the mistakes that are made and what they can work on. And the students have the option to do it again.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it's not just one time and done. So they can try and get a better score. So it's encouraging them to keep going, to keep practicing on their reading, their speaking, their pronunciation. So yeah, giving them many options to improve.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
The questions are supposed to be for you, Mari.
Anybody, any question?
Does anybody have any questions for Mari? She knows it all. I was very impressed with your session last week. And it was amazing because I do not understand Japanese, but all the examples you had and all the pictures and things that you were showing, it was very fun to watch. So she really is the expert. So
Well,
I'm not sure if we have any questions.
everybody is so quiet here.
Yeah. We might maybe we can give it a couple more minutes.
Okay.
If
Do
anybody
we
has
have Japanese listeners here today? Are we having Japanese listeners today?
I'm not sure.
My, I saw a comment from Peru. Oh, somebody's from
Yeah,
Peru. Wow.
welcome everybody. It's amazing.
日本の先生の方、日本語で質問でも大丈夫ですよ。You can ask me questions in Japanese. Don't hesitate. 何でもいいですよ。
Can we share the links for can we share the links for EBJ where you can find the sales and the books?
Oh, okay. That would
If
be great.
anybody needs, yes, we have a link for that. If you need the PPT, I can provide that as well. We can provide that if you email us at inquiry@eltkorea.com. Is that right? Yuri, can you share? Yes, inquiry@eltkorea.com. Email us if you need anything at all. The PowerPoint or maybe a certificate. Yeah. Let us know if you need anything. I think we might be able to wrap up a little bit early. I haven't seen any questions. I'm eagerly waiting. Wow, 25% off new titles in Japan. Nice. All right, yeah, check out EBJ. I think Mari, we can bring it to a close.
Okay.
Do you have any more questions?
Mm,
I don't know if
well, not at this moment, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to receiving English waves. And I have another seminar in with my own in March, so I'll show the English waves to the teachers who came to my seminar. Okay?
Wonderful. And of course, this is going to be on our YouTube as well as all of our other sessions that we've had with the eFuture event for teachers 2026 in Japan. So all of our other videos are on our YouTube as well. So make sure to check it out. And if you have any questions, inquiry@eltkorea.com, everyone. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone, for joining. Thank you, Mari, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.